Hi guys, let's make a 20 ounce skinny vinyl wave tumbler. This is a 20 ounce skinny straight AF tumbler from Mother Tumbler. And right now I'm just kind of laying my tumbler on it so I can cut how high I need to cut the vinyl. Like literally anything not to break out a Cricut machine in a roller, if I'm being honest. And then folding it where that cut was so that I can just cut all of that excess off and it'll be a little bit easier to work with. All right, so now we're going to free cut a wave. There are templates on Etsy if you feel like you can't do this, but I'm not doing anything magical. I'm really just taking my scissors and cutting this wave pattern by hand. I don't have exact dimensions. I eyeball it literally every time because, like I said, I don't want to take out my Cricut. Now we're going to lay that right on our tumbler. This vinyl from Elena's gift shop lays really smooth. So if you mess up, you can easily like peel it off and try again. And I'm just smoothing out any creases and air bubbles along the way. And this is real time. I did not speed up any parts of this tutorial. And as you can see, it laid really great. So now I'm going to trim off the bottom with this cutting edge tool I got from Amazon. And then I also trim off the top as well. This just gives it nice, clean, straight lines rather than trying to cut it by hand with an X-Acto knife. Now we're going to cover off the whole thing with electrical tape. I usually use painter's tape for this step, but electrical tape bends more. And since we did a wave pattern, we obviously need that tape to kind of bend with the wave. So this is much easier, in my opinion, than trying to do it with painter's tape. And this is just so when we're glittering and gluing that we don't mess up our vinyl, because I'm messy, all right? I see some people, they don't use tape and they just paint and glitter right on there and they are super magical and I am not. So that's all I'm doing here. I love electrical tape. I feel like everybody needs electrical tape and painter's tape in their office at all times. Also, this was a pre-prepped tumbler from Mother Tumbler. I know it looks like I didn't sand it, but I promise there are... It was pre-prepped, okay? Now I'm going in with Adhesive Apothecary glitter glue, and I'm using their paintbrush as well. And I am putting a little bit of a thicker coat than normal on this tumbler because I'm using a chunky. And if you see it kind of separating on the tumbler, that's because I didn't sand it enough. So when you're using Adhesive Apothecary, make sure you give it a good sand. That is something that I forgot to do, but that's fine because it's still got great coverage anyways. This glitter is Bubbly from PDB, and I'm kind of doing a burst right in the middle of my cup. So heavy coverage right in the middle, and then I start to sprinkle it out. And we're pairing that with Professional by PDB. I chose to do Professional on the top and bottom because it is a finer mix. So I knew it wouldn't be super hard to get the edges and the rim and the bottom super smooth. And I am just blending those right into each other. They blended really nice. I did not prep my base with a color because I wanted Bubbly to be like a really light pink. Now we're going to peel that tape off and I'm going to epoxy this 2 times. Also, let your glue dry. I like to let it dry overnight, so like 12 hours. This is that raw glitter moment that we all love so much. Nice clean lines. These colors were magical. All right, now listen. I used epoxy for this and I don't have super great luck with epoxy in the winter, so I'm actually going to lay a new piece of vinyl over this. You can skip this step, but I'm a hot mess like that. I am sanding it down with a sanding block. I got those sanding blocks from the Crystal Company and I just really like how they are. Here I'm just kind of mapping out where my decal is going to be, but I am sanding this down and putting another coat of epoxy on it because I don't want to put a decal or vinyl over any bumpy surfaces, and my glitter was still poking out in some areas. So this is where I'm just laying a new piece of vinyl. Like I said, most of you probably don't do this, but I would rather lay a brand new piece of vinyl over it rather than having like a vinyl that has collected air bubbles throughout all of my steps of epoxy. If you know what I mean. Maybe no one else has that issue, but sometimes I do. So ignore this step if you're not a hot mess like me. Now we're going to add vinyl striping. These are just leftover vinyl pieces I had. I would say they're about 11 inches wide and 0.1 inches thick. And I am just using those to follow the lines where my vinyl meets my glitter. This is from Tech Wrap. I believe it's just their pale matte pink, and it really matched the vinyl perfectly. So I was kind of excited that I had this on hand already. And now we're going to do the other side. And then we're going to be ready for a decal. And the cup is almost done. And you see how I'm just bending the vinyl like with my finger? Yeah, I don't know. Trim that off with my X-Acto knife. And now we're going to grab the matching decal. This is my digital. I made the digital and the matching seamless, and Elena's gift shop printed it into the vinyl and the White Cast decal. And I love her for it because I've been wanting to put this on a cup. So if you're looking for this decal or the vinyl, you can grab it at Elena's gift shop. It will link her below. But now we are just going to place that decal right in the middle of our cup. We just kind of have to be careful because I didn't give myself a lot of room to work with this decal, so we want it to line up perfectly. So this is not something I do often. I usually peel off the backing and like lay it on there and hope for the best. But for this tumbler, I did cut a little bit of the decal off so I can kind of line it up better and make sure it is not off center and it is nice and straight. After that, you can just kind of peel the white backing on and pop any air bubbles that are under your decal. And that's it. You can go ahead and seal this with another coat of epoxy and then it'll be done. Here it is. How beautiful.